Focus on these metrics, especially the last two ones that I mentioned, because those are actually driving the growth of your business. Are your ads not performing? With these 4 metrics, you can determine if your ad is a winner or not. Now, you may be looking at all these metrics, CTR, CPC, CPA, ROAS, like there are countless of metrics to look at when you're in the ads manager, but you may feel lost. Like, you may be a beginner of doing ads, you might not know all about marketing, but it's so important to make sure that you're looking at the right metrics. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 4 metrics that I think are super important to look at when judging the ads' performance. And I'll even add in a bonus metric at the end to really elevate your performance, and if you want to get to the next level with your business, to make sure that you're looking at the right metrics altogether. Now, the first metric you want to look at is your ad spend. Now, you may not have expected that one to come first. You may have expected like ROAS or my CPA, but spend is the main metric you want to look at, because if you're operating at a CBO and you're having 3 ad sets, for example, you want to look at your spend. So where is your spend going? Is your spend going to ad set 1, ad set 2, or ad set 3? And based on that, you will know which ad or ad angle is converting best. So let's say you have 3 ads inside of your campaign, and all of the spend on that campaign is going towards 1 ad set. You are pretty sure that that angle is the strongest one outside of those 3, because that ad is probably getting the most engagement or also getting some purchases as well. And that's, of course, the goal you want to get. And that's, of course, the main goal you have, getting some sales. And also, of course, making sure that your ads are engaging. And from there, you can obviously look at the secondary metrics like your CTR, your ROAS, etc. But spend comes definitely first. And so inside those ad sets, so you will see like all of the spend is going towards 1 ad set. And in that 1 ad set, for example, you have 3 ads as well. You will see most of the spend usually going to 1 ad, and most of the time that ad will be the strongest one. It might not perform on target, but you'll learn that that angle is the strongest, and then you can iterate from there further. So let's say you have a video and you're like all of the spend is going towards that particular video, then the CTR might not be good or the hook rate is not as strong. Then you know where you can like iterate that video and basically make it better, so that spend is better allocated and the chance of getting conversion are much, much higher. But you may ask, why is spend so important? You have to see like these platforms are super, super smart. You will see like Facebook spending money on one creative, and you will think, oh, I'm smarter than the algorithm, but you are not. The algorithm is super smart. They know if somebody stopped for 1 like millisecond to look at your video. So you will not outbeat the algorithm. Like if you place an ad inside a CBO, and if it's not getting any spend, and you move it outside of the CBO, move to ABO, chances are it might get 1 or 2 sales, but then it will eventually die out because you already got the signal of the algorithm that the ad is not getting any spend. So that should tell you enough like why you need to trust the algorithm. So the next metric you need to look at is your CTR. Not just your normal CTR, but your unique outbound CTR. Because your normal CTR will also contain people clicking on the ads, clicking on your profile, etc. You want to make sure that it's your unique outbound CTR. That's actually unique users that are clicking on the outbound link, actually going to your website. And you usually want to make sure that's about 1 to 1.5%. If you're hitting like a 2-3%, then obviously you're doing a great job. But it can be deceiving. Like your CTR is great and it gives you a good indicator if people are like interested in your product. But you have to make sure there's congruency behind the promise you're delivering. So is there congruency behind your ad and the landing page? Whether that's the offer, the angle, or both. Like you need to make sure that those align, because otherwise you can use like clickbait and say like, oh, I have a 5% CTR, but they're not going to convert usually. You need to make sure that you're looking at your CTR also in relation to your conversion rate on your website, because you're making sure that your targeted audience is actually the audience you want to have on your website. So you're not wasting your ad dollars. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do to improve your CTR. Obviously, first and foremost, have a great looking ad. Not just great looking, but also like well converting. Like a solid ad, a good static ad, a good video ad that has a good hook rate, and from there making sure that you follow the entire process of making a high converting ad. Obviously, at the end, you need to have a call to action, so you're telling people what to do. And that will obviously impact your CTR. Now, the third metric you need to look at is your hook rate. You need to divide the 3-second video views by the amount of impressions that your video gained. So basically you're calculating how effective are the first 3 seconds of my video. And with that metric, you can see if you're grabbing the attention. Another name of this metric is the thumb stop rate. So is your ad actually stopping the thumb? So you want to make sure that you're obviously standing out. So calling out your audience in your first couple of seconds of your video. A good example is attention moms, or if you're having gut problems, stop scrolling. Like, these are very basic examples, but you get what I mean. You need to call out your audience, and in the first couple of seconds, call out their problem. Like, what are they facing? Are they facing gut issues? Are they having problems with their skin, or they're having hormonal acne, or something like that? Like, call them out, because you only have a couple of seconds or a couple of milliseconds on the feed to call them out and grab their attention. So the fourth and final metric is the hold rate. So are you actually retaining your audience after you hook them with your 3-second thumb stopping opening? So that's super important as well, because you can stop the scroll as great as you want, but you need to make sure that afterward you're actually retaining them, living up to that promise in the initial hook. So usually the hook is obviously, of course, not to sell the product. It's actually to making sure that people are watching the next part of your video. I think David Ogilvy once said that with your headline, so also with your hook and the main headline you're trying to convince in the first 3 seconds of your video, or the headline in your static ads, you've already spent 80 cents of your advertising dollar. So it is super important to make sure that after your hook, you're retaining your audience and making sure that you're keeping them engaged with your video. And that's where the hold rate comes in. Now, the hold rate are the people that watch from 3 to 15 seconds of your video. So if people are not sticking around in your video, obviously that is your hold rate. So you want to make sure that your middle part of the video is engaging enough. So if your hold rate is not good enough, then you can obviously change the middle part of your video and make adjustments so people are actually sticking around after the initial hook. So those are, in my opinion, the 4 best metrics to look at inside the Facebook Ads Manager. Now I have basically 2 bonus ones for you. So basically those 2 metrics are new customer CPA and your new customer ROAS. Now they are super important, because if you're acquiring customers through Facebook, you want to make sure that your campaigns are effectively driving new customers. So in the Ads Manager, you will look at ROAS or CPA, but it's not telling you the entirety of the story, because are those actually new customers? So one way to do this is to exclude your Klaviyo list. There's a very good integration between Klaviyo and Facebook ads, which allows you to exclude your existing customers, and it's updated in real time. And also you can exclude your pixel purchase of 180 days. It's the maximum range you can go back to. And by excluding those 2, the chance of you reaching new customers are so much higher. So what I use to get these metrics is to use Triple Whale. It allows you to see those numbers because it hooks directly up to Shopify, and it will cross-reference if that order came from a new customer or a repeat customer, so you can effectively scale your campaigns. And it's actually the North Star metrics we use for all of our clients to make sure that our prospecting campaigns are actually getting new customers. Now, it's obviously great to talk about all of these metrics, but I want to make sure that you get this one thing right. Now, to talk about these metrics is obviously great. To look at all these metrics like CTR, your hook rate, your hold rate, your new customer ROAS, but you need to make sure that you're also looking at the data objectively. A high CTR doesn't always mean your ad is converting well. So you want to make sure that you're also looking at your conversion data, because I'd rather have an ad with a low CTR and a high new customer ROAS than an ad with a very high CTR and a very low new customer ROAS, because it's not just about optimizing your ads to make sure that you're getting the highest conversion rate. You can get a very, very low CTR, and we're seeing that for some clients, and getting a very, very good acquisition cost on Facebook. It's crazy. You don't need to stress all about it. It's all relevant to the situation you're in. But obviously you want to make sure that you're optimizing for these metrics, and of course getting them the highest possible, and making sure that your ad actually is selling something your customers are wanting. So that's obviously the main principle, that your ads need to be congruent to the page you're sending people to and the thing you're selling, and playing on the emotions of your customers. Otherwise these metrics are all useless. If you're selling some crazy pill and you're promising the world to people and you're only delivering like 1% of that, then obviously your metrics don't make any sense. You want to make sure that everything actually makes sense and those numbers actually stack up in your favor. Focus on these metrics, especially the last two ones that I mentioned, your new customer OS and your new customer CPA, because those are actually driving the growth of your business. Obviously, there are multiple other metrics to look at, like your LTV, etc., but that's for a different video. And if there are any metrics I forgot in this video and forgot to mention, please leave them down in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing your feedback. So if you like content like this, leave a like below, hit the subscribe button, and I'd love to welcome you into our audience. That's it for the video, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next one.